Tina McElroy, Ansa, and welcome to Two Old Chicks Who Know a Lot of Shit. We are here with my partner and 50-plus year friend, Wanda Lloyd. How you doing, Wanda?
Tina, I'm good. You know what? Busy as always, of course, but I'm overall feeling pretty good. I took a nap today. You know, I never take naps.
Oh, you know, that did my heart good to know that you take naps. As you can imagine, Wanda's days are really full. I call them Wanda days because I have maybe one of those every week, you know, where I go out and I, go to all the stores and I, pick up something nice for your partner and make sure dinner is ready and do 2 or 3 Zooms at night. I know that's a lot. And of course, people really are concerned about you, still concerned because they know that you just had a bout with COVID. So we also want to know just how you're feeling.
Well, I have to show you this. I'm living by cough drops. Can you see my cough drops?
I see your cough. Uh-huh.
So
Absolutely.
I feel really good, except I have this awful cough that's still lingering. So I can't go anywhere without a few cough drops in my pocket or my handbag or sitting in front of me at my desk, because every now and then this cough just keeps coming back. And so otherwise, I'm feeling really good. I have more energy than I had before. I just have to get to pass this cough that just keeps lingering.
Yeah, well, we're really happy to hear that. I am. It's like I said, I got my binky back, and actually, she helped me this evening. So, I am very happy that Wanda is healthy and happy and almost back to full strength. And I'm even happier that she's taking the nap. Last time, Janetta Cole made such an impression on us by saying that the one thing that she did not do as far as self-care in her past was getting enough sleep. And she said, it catches up with you. So, we listened to her and clearly you took her to heart.
I did. And, last night, for whatever reason, I was having trouble sleeping. And so I think I watched a couple of movies on streaming movies. And then today I was just tired all morning. So when I talked to you about midday, I realized that I just needed to take a nap, and I was trying to write. And I just had to put the writing aside and say, okay, I'm going to take a nap. I slept about 3 hours this afternoon. So I feel really good. I'll probably be awake all night tonight. So maybe I'll get some writing done.
Yeah. Well, we can't talk without dropping some wisdom. And I just thought about some wisdom that you just said about being able to write. You had an assignment, you had something to write and probably a deadline out, but you really cannot work on a half tank of gas, and a half tank of sleep. You just cannot. And I know that people are finding time to write whenever they can. There are lots of folks, whose jobs are not writing, and they are writing, or they are aspiring writers, and they try to, get up at 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever. I always suggest try to do that. But if that's going to leave you draggy all day and irritable with the children and no, don't do that. Let's find some other time and use that time maybe to get some rest instead of writing, and approach it at a different time, maybe in the evening, or maybe instead of lunchtime, you can, do it. But there are different ways to do it. But like you're saying, that rest is essential, not only to us old chicks, but to y'all young chicks too. Take it to heart.
Yeah, you know me. I like to be on a schedule. I like to have things planned, but getting off schedule was just different. Now I got a cough. I had to talk about it, right? And I got a cough.
I do. I know. I just know this. Good. This is a good time to take a little break and get some water. Well, we are all also very thrilled that we are now in March, and we are not into March Madness. We are into March Women. And it's a Women's History Month and all that it entails. As women of color, I think that one of the things that we appreciate maybe more than anybody else are the ones who went ahead of us. I thinking, I saw something about Shirley Chisholm today, and I never see her without thinking about you. I think of Ida B. Wells without thinking about you. Zora Neale Hurston without people thinking about me. So Black History Month was good, but we're really going to ramp it up for Women's Month. So in that vein,
so let me just say this: that the writing assignment that I'm working on is a piece on Women's History Month. And while I mentioned some of those historical figures, I'm really writing about, I'm encouraging people to look at the women who have made a difference in your life personally. And I'm mentioning
Personal
three
heroes.
of them. Yeah, personal heroes, people who, and besides your family, because that's kind of a given that your mother and your aunts and all that made a difference. But I've narrowed it down to three.
Miss Russell in kindergarten class, who let you lead the Pledge of Allegiance. I mean, all those little things that that build up, to build the confidence, to let you know I can do this, or somebody's proud of me. You're right. You're right.
Well, one of the ones I'm writing about is someone I wrote about in my memoir, Coming Full Circle, and it's Mrs. Law, who was my high school journalism teacher, who encouraged me to become a journalist. And so I'm going to write about, I'm going to tell that story to readers, and I have a couple more people. So it is important to think about the women who are not so far in the past, and even some who are still with us, because you know what they say, give people their flowers while they can smell them. So I'm trying to do that.
Like my mama, give me my roses.
That's
She always has to put her hand up, right? Give me my roses while I'm here to smell them. And it's so true. It's so true. That's something that we old chicks are really aware of a lot more than younger folks. We don't really want to be praised, but we want to be there for the party. We want to be there for the enjoyment of what we've done, of what we women have accomplished. Well, in that vein, I want to sort of throw it over to you, because Wanda has some exciting news to celebrate Women's History Month. You want to tell us about it, Wanda?
I sure will. I have been a part of a writers group for about 3 years, led by my friend Stacey Hawkins Adams. Stacey was a journalist for many years. I was her mentor when she was in college, and during her internships, and during the early part of her career. And then at some point she became a novelist. She wrote, I believe most of her books are Christian fiction. And excuse me. And so as I was writing my memoir, I just was having a conversation with her one day. And I said, I need some motivation. I need to talk to some other writers. I got Tina, but I got to get in a routine of thinking about writing all the time. And she told me about this wonderful group that she had launched called the Focus Writers Membership Community. And so for 3 years, we have been talking about doing a project together. And we just launched on 2/22/22 a book called On Womanhood. It is an anthology that includes essays.
We love those anthologies.
We love
those essays.
That's right.
Well, it's interesting. People are really wanting to read think pieces. They really are wanting to read what other people are really taking time to sit down and think about. Well, let me ask you, how many contributors, and how did y'all put it together and all of that? Give us some details.
Well, I believe we have 10 essays, plus Stacey wrote the introduction, and our foreword is, oh gosh, I don't have it. I got to think about Daphne Maxwell Reid, the actress who played Aunt Viv, the second Aunt Viv on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. But Daphne
and Frank's place. Don't forget Frank's place. I love her in Frank's place.
That's right. But she's also a designer. She designs clothing. She makes clothing. She's an artist. She's just a wonderful, beautiful soul. She is a member of my sorority, Delta Sigma Theta, but she's also a friend of Stacey's. So she did the foreword for us. So I had a conversation with Stacey that'll explain a lot of the process for this, and I want to, we're going to show that to our listeners, our podcast listeners, and we're going to do that right now. So here's a conversation we had just a couple of days ago with between Stacey and me.
Okay, great.
Well, we told you that we have some great news to share with you on the podcast, and we always start our podcast talking about what we've been up to. And I am so happy to introduce my friend, Stacey Hawkins Adams, because she and I have been friends. I have been her mentor since she was in college. which was a few years ago. And now she is my mentor as a nonfiction writer. We've been working together on a project. And that project is a brand new book. Hey, Stacy, welcome to Two Old Chicks.
Hi, Wanda. Thank you for having me. Honored to be here.
Good. So tell me, what is On Womanhood and who produced it? How did it all come about?
So On Womanhood is an anthology. It's a collection of essays written by women for women. And the full name of the book is On Womanhood, Connecting and Thriving in Every Season. And it features personal essays written by 11 women who are, including myself, who are members of the Focused Writers community. And Focused Writers is an online mentorship program that I started about 7 years ago. I'm a multi-published author. I've written 9 novels and 2 nonfiction books. And so at the height of the busyness of probably 4 or 5 years ago, or right around 2015 when I started the program, I started hearing a lot from writers just via email and at public events who wanted to write books, or who had questions about how to start a blog, those kinds of questions. And, in the moment of being at an event, there's no way to fully answer that question. And also via email, I'd be writing a book trying to share that advice. So I decided to start this sort of low-key, informal group, grassroots kind of group where people could join, and then I would be able to answer their questions collectively in a private Facebook group, and then we have a live call once a month. So that's what Focused Writers is. And I would say that the group is typically about 15 to 20 members. Stays like pretty small tribe of members, and they happen to be all women at this point. And about 2 years ago, the group of women started to say that they wanted to do a project together, because although we talk about writing, we often segue into talking about what's going on in each writer's life and supporting each other through that. And so because of the connections that were forming, the group started to say, let's do a podcast. And this was before you started your podcast.
Yes,
Wanda.
I remember.
So I thought, oh no, I don't have the bandwidth to lead them through that. And then it segued into let's do an anthology. And so that idea stuck. And we decided, since we were women having conversations as women in the group, we wanted to write a collection of essays that focused on women. And that's how it came about. And in the group, the name On Womanhood surfaced and was voted upon, and everyone loved it. So that's how we started.
So, I'm in the group, so I'm very delighted to be a part of this group. And it is a collaborative process, isn't it? And we did so much, from the writing, the editing together, the marketing plan, the publishing plan and information. I mean, I think, because I haven't been writing books that long, but I think it's a unique process. I've never heard of any other group doing it where they did everything together. Of course, people have been doing anthologies, since the beginning of writing time, but to do the whole book together, that was a little bit of stress for us, but we got it done.
Yes, and it was a slower process because I intentionally decided that if we were going to go on this journey together, and I kind of warned the group, I don't think you all knew what you all were signing up for, because when I finally said yes, I said, you all are going to go through every step of this process. Like, I'm not going to do all the heavy lifting and hand this book to you. Are y'all okay? And the group said, yes, we're on board. So I just decided from the beginning that I would treat it as a masterclass. So we officially launched conversations around, we're going to produce this in January of 2021 during the height of the pandemic. And decided, okay, everything from the title to the cover to, like you said, every step of the way. And like I said, I technically could have said, I'm going to guide you through the anthology and made all the decisions. It was a slower process because everything, even like the cover design, we had like 2-hour conversations around where we should position the words on womanhood, which seemed pretty tedious, but it also taught them I guess the meaning of design, even when you're pairing a book cover with the theme of the book and how some of those things mesh together. So yes, everything from writing the essays to you were one of our lead editors, because we had 3 internal editors. So yourself, there was another author who's independently published, and then we had a retired English teacher to be a proofreader. I read everything, did a developmental edit on it, just as you had done. And then we even took the step of hiring an external editor to give us feedback, because I wanted them to understand that in traditional publishing, you never write it, send it off, and not see it again until it's ready. There are all of these multiple steps.
So here we are. It's the month of March. It's Women's History Month, and we decided to donate the proceeds in the month of March to the YMCA USA. So I just want our readers to know that if they're purchasing the book right away, that they will help. And it is significant that we're in Women's History Month. So I want to ask you, what do you want readers to take away from reading this book?
Great question. Well, if when they pick up the book, they'll see that the essays are written by women from ages 21 to 72. So you've got a lot of experience, you've got youth, you've got everything in between. We touch 4 generations in this book. And the writers write about everything from advocating for herself as a Black woman to learning how to forgive her father, to leadership lessons, to icons in our Black history, to women who mentored us along the way. So I want readers to see themselves reflected in the book and maybe be inspired and hopeful about their own journeys, but also read to understand other women around them, because every woman's journey is meaningful, yet it's also different. So maybe it'll help you understand the people around you a little bit better, maybe delve into their stories.
Sure. And the book is a hardback. It's a little book. It's a small book, but it is hardback. It's beautifully designed, the cover. And it's, I think you called it a coffee table book because it is so beautiful, and it would be very lovely on a coffee table. It's a book you can read in small bites because you can read one essay at a time. You don't have to read them you can read them in order because I think they are arranged in some sort of order. But we hope that women learn a lot, share the book with other women, share it with young women. One of our writers, the 21-year-old, is a college student, and it was very important, I think, for us to include someone who is young in the process. So, Stacey, you are the leader of the Focus Writers community. Tell us if someone wants to reach out to you. Well, first tell us how they can get the book, and also tell us how they can reach out to you.
So the book is available on Amazon, of course, where everyone knows to look, and they can look for, the title, On Womanhood, Connecting and Thriving in Every Season. They can also kind of put in the title of the book and the author name, such as your name, On Womanhood, Wanda Lloyd, or my name, and that should also pull it up. They can also go to my website, staceyhawkinsadams.com, and that's Stacey with no E, and they'll find it on the homepage there. And then they also can find information about focused writers there. So if you go to staceyhawkinsadams.com, you'll see a tab for focused writers. You'll find information about On Womanhood. And then we also created sort of a short link. It's basically tinyurl.com/On Womanhood. So tinyurl.com/On Womanhood will also take you to buy the book. And then also I should say that wherever you are in the country, if you are in a locality where there's an independent bookstore or maybe even a Barnes and Noble, they may not necessarily have it on their shelves, but they can get it for you. They should be able to order it for you.
And it's also an ebook.
Yes, also an ebook form for sure. So if you want to read it quickly, definitely download it. Because of all the supply chain issues, it may take a week or 2 to get the hardback book. So order early if you're ordering for gifts, but otherwise, please do enjoy the ebook as well.
Yeah, I ordered my ebook the first day it was available. So it's on my Kindle app on my iPad. So I'm excited about that. Great. Well, Stacey, it's so wonderful to have you on Two Old Chicks Who Know a Lot of Shit. And we may have you back again sometime for a longer discussion about something else. So you take care, and it's great seeing you. And, onward with On Womanhood. We're excited.
Oh, Wanda, that was really wonderful. I congratulate you and all the women. Really, really a stellar job.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We are so excited about it. And as you heard in the introduction, we're donating our proceeds in the month of March to the YWCA USA. So we hope that people enjoy the book. Thank you.
Yeah, enjoy the book and know that they're doing some good as well. I'm so happy. Well, we are now at the main portion of our show. As I told y'all, I have been so excited for a while because we have the most special guest that we could possibly have on Two Old Chicks Who Know a Lot of Shit. And that is the incomparable Iyanla Vanzant. Iyanla, who is a friend and a sister and a friend of my husband's and a spiritual guide and such a smart person. I've always loved her smarts. She leads with her smarts, but she carries her heart with her. I think that's it. Wanda, we are pleased to have Iyanla Vanzant. Thank you, sister, for joining us.
Well, thank you,
me.
excuse me, so much for being here. You and I are just meeting this evening for the first time, but I have a feeling that, like a couple of other guests we have had, by the end of the night, you're going to be calling yourself an old chick as well. So we
I
are
call
so
myself
proud to
that
have
every
you.
day.
Hey, your body kind of tells you that you wake up and say, "Oh, what a beautiful day," and you go, "Oh, wait a minute, got to stretch, got to
Yeah.
take my time." Wanda and I were talking about something. We're always talking and zooming, and she said that she had gotten up to go. I got up to go to the bathroom pee like 2 times a night, and she said she just gets up one time, and I said, "Oh yeah, well, you can stay asleep and go back to sleep," and she says, "Oh, so you can just get out of bed and just swing your legs out
Not
and
me.
go pee. You don't have to stretch. You don't have to sit on the side of the bed for a while." So Iyanla, we're thrilled to have you. You have been a friend to me. I'm going to tell the short version of the story because Wanda sent me an email text saying, "Tina, we want Iyanla to have some time to talk tonight." People are coming to the show for Iyanla, but I want to just say one thing. Iyanla saved my marriage. Janae and I, of course, were married for 40 years. And after about 20 years, things were just going sideways and it just wasn't good. And I swear, out of nowhere, I get this phone call from Iyanla Vanzant, who is a friend of mine, but we don't talk every week. And she said, "Spirit told me to call you and tell you that you and your husband need to get up here to this couples retreat that I'm having. It's a private one. It's not, everybody won't be there. So you can just, text." And I'm thinking, what is this? Iyanla Vanzant. Janae actually agreed to do it because he loved Iyanla almost as much as he loved me, my husband. I was shocked that he said okay. We didn't have anywhere to stay when we were there. Iyanla put us up. You can stay in the basement. Iyanla was intent on getting us up there. Well, Janae walked out of the thing and embarrassed me. He walked out. Can't remember. Oh Lord! And Iyanla kept saying, "Well, Tina, he can do what he wants to. Let him go if he wants to go. Stop. You don't have to apologize." I was apologizing to everybody. The hand I fan with was just out, and I was just, I said, "Oh, I'm talking about this love couple," and here I am, can't even get my man to stay in. And Iyanla let us stay overnight. She got some books for me to sign for some other women there. She kept it all. She told me just to cool out. Just cool out, Tina. He's not an idiot. That is what she told me. She did say, "Well, he's not an idiot, Tina. Cool out." So I said, "Oh, okay." We got home and I cried halfway back home. And after I cried, Janae and I talked the rest of the way. Iyanla saved my marriage. That's the kind of power that she has and the kind of power she uses for good. I love you so much, Iyanla.
I know. I'm sorry I missed my Janae, but yeah, and I think particularly among us old chicks.
There she goes.
You
Claim
know,
it, sister.
yeah.
Claim it.
Hey, I say it every morning. I asked somebody this morning, "Oh Lord, is my cheese slipped off my cracker?" I just
She's a cracker.
gosh. I went outside to get something. I had to come back in the house, stand where I was standing when I figured out what I wanted to remember it so I could
All
go
the
back
time.
outside and get it.
All
I've
the
forgotten
time.
I've done that and forgotten the second time and just said, "Tina, just do something." I'll just pick up something and start trying to straighten it up just to make the trip worthwhile. Well,
I did that today. I said, "I know I came in this kitchen for something and I'm not leaving until I remember it." And of course I had to go back to the bedroom and back to the kitchen before I finally remember what I wanted. And I don't even know what it is now. I just forgot it already.
But I think particularly among us old chicks, the kind of sisterhood, friendship, love that we have for each other, it stands the test of time. I haven't spoken to you in I don't know how many years, and she said, "Come to this." Okay, fine. Here you go. I have that with you, with Blanche, with Susan. Just I think we have a deeper respect and appreciation for each other, for our hearts. Because that's what I find among young people is they are not careful with one another's hearts.
Oh,
Careful with your heart, it's not something that anybody can teach you. It's just how you be. So
We talk a lot, Iyanla. That's so wonderful. They're not careful with their hearts. Social media and all the rest, those are instruments for
yeah,
not being careful with each other's hearts.
yeah,
But Wanda and I talk a lot about mothers and daughters and the younger generation and older generation, because that's what we're here for.
yeah,
Why have all this wisdom and not use it to help young folks? And so, as we say, the babies ain't got to learn the hard way.
right.
But tell me, how do we bridge that? There's a big gap. There's between the, say, baby boomers and Gen X and millennials and any of our children, any of those generations. There seems to be such a disconnect. Do
Well,
you think so? And
absolutely. For the first time in my life, I am in total breakdown with my daughter. We've never had this experience before, and it's quite interesting. It's quite interesting to me. But
if it weren't you, it would be interesting, right?
one of the things that, and it really is the breakdown in the generations, because she's not careful with my heart.
Mm.
Not careful with my heart. My giving from that place of motherhood and care and support, she receives it as entitlement, like she's supposed to have it. Oh, no, no, no. And
And you
so,
didn't teach entitlement. That's the thing that
no,
gets me. You
but
didn't teach.
it's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
everywhere. And
yeah.
so she was not careful with my heart. And then she must have had some, I don't know, some marijuana on her Cheerios. And one day she said to me, "Don't roll up on me." Wait a minute, hold up. Excuse me. In my house, you telling me don't roll up on you? I'm old school.
Mm-hmm.
And if it weren't for her infirmity, I would have whipped her ass. Okay. She broke her ankle, so she's in a boot.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of school I come from. You ain't never too old for mama to beat you.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the breakdown is because a lot of our children, a lot of young people have a lot that they didn't work for. It was given to them. A lot of them also, and I've got all generations. I've got my 4-year-old great grandson here. And right above him, I've got a 6-year-old grandson. Then I've got like 10, 12, 16, 21, 35-year-old grandchildren. And so I see every generation. And I'm
Right
like,
there.
wow, because even the 26-year-old will say to the 18-year-old, "You can't talk like that in Ye's house." Because it just never even dawned on him, but she's 26.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so she knows. The other thing I think it is, and I could be wrong about this, and this is no heat, no judgment on it. A lot of these children grew up in a car looking at the back of somebody's head while they were on a thing. A lot of these children grew up eating their meals out of styrofoam boxes from the Chinese store or McDonald's or whatever. So there's a level of connection and almost camaraderie that I don't think they have. I took my grandson shopping for Christmas. Every Christmas I give him a gift card. I take him to the mall. I sit down. Y'all go do what you do, and I can't.
Yeah, everybody's happy, right?
So I went in one store with him with his gift card, and the guy said to him, "I need your signature." So he gave him the sales slip and he wrote his name. I said, "No, baby, you got to sign that." He said, "What do you mean?" I signed. I said, "No, you printed." He said, I said, "You don't know how to, he says, "What is that?" They don't know how to write cursive.
They stopped teaching cursive writing in school. I hear it's coming back, but they stopped it years ago. But after my daughter was in school, because she did learn cursive and she's 39. So I was also going to say, Iyanla, I have a daughter, and Tina and I talk all the time about how close my daughter and I are. We are very close. But she tells me that many people of her contemporaries are not close with their mothers or their mother figures.
Oh, they think the Shelby's an outlier.
They do.
They think she's a unicorn. When she genuinely wants to talk with her mother. And I tell Wanda all the time, Wanda, that's not the experience. The normal experience, if you want to call it normal, the regular experience that young people are having now. Like you say, the back of the head And I can't, you know what? I have to say, my mother taught me the value and the reverence for reading, because she had a pink chair and she wrote if she read. And I mean, this is a woman, had a difficult husband, and, helped to run his business, his juke joints, and had 5 children, and, took care of them, sold for us and all of this. But she found time to read. And, when I was little, I was like 5 or 6. I would come up to her and, want to interrupt her because, Mama is always available to me. That's the one thing that I knew. She was always, and this is the one time she would say, "Not now, baby, Mama's reading." And I was saying, reading? Shoot, you know what? Reading could take my mama from me. So, I had that, that sense that somebody cared for me, that if I cried, somebody would answer.
Well, that's it. I think availability, accessibility, and sensitivity. I think a lot of young people didn't have parents who were available. Maybe they were working, maybe they were whatever. And they weren't accessible, emotionally, physically accessible, and nor were they sensitive. The not so good part of our time was that I wasn't raised as a whole person. I was raised as a physical person. My emotional self and my spiritual self, that was in the church, just do what Jesus did and you'll be fine. But, but I wasn't raised as an emotional person. And nowadays, I don't think the young people, they have the physical, they don't have the emotional or the spiritual. And so there's just a level of intimacy that they don't have. I believe 2 things, and I'm an old chick, so what the heck, I can make it up any way I want to because I'll forget it tomorrow.
You can walk out the room tonight.
Right, I can make it up any way I want to make it up. Probably around 30. My son is 50, so probably around 30, 35 years ago. Women stopped nursing their babies. They fed them from a bottle and propped it up on the pillow. Because I'm saying there's no child that has laid enough at his mother's heartbeat could take a pistol and kill another person. And our young people today, these bottle-fed babies, killing each other up in the street.
Yeah.
They don't have heart, they don't have connection, they don't have intimacy, they don't have an emotional vocabulary, they don't have an emotional library. They know happy, sad, good, bad, angry. They don't know how to process, how to deal joy, disappointment, frustration, anxiety. They don't have an emotional library.
Surprises, yeah.
They just don't have it. And so please forgive my yappers.
Well, you know what I was going to say? I was going to say, let the record show that is not my Bella, Tina. Usually it's my dog who's barking, so that's okay.
What they are barking.
I have cats, so they're hiding somewhere. So
I have one of them too, but she is, I don't know what's happening. So, and y'all, I hold us accountable, women. And this is the first day of Women's History Month. So, and for the past 20 years, I've been saying to women, young women, old women, we're out of order. We are so out of order. It's no wonder our communities look the way they look. We are not women anymore. We are men in skirts,
But what do you mean when you say we're out of order, Iyanla? What does that mean?
We are so busy doing that we stop being. I remember simple things like I couldn't wear heels until I was 13 and stockings until I was 16. What did I say?
I really love you.
Oh. Hey, precious.
I'm working. Can you wait for me to work?
May I stay with you?
Well, no, because you get to, excuse me, everybody. You touch too much. Go back. The race cars went off?
No.
I'm primary caregiver today. That's my great answer. You know, we stopped
Something else we old chicks know a lot about.
we
Yeah.
stopped living in our hearts. We started living in our heads. We became more addicted to getting things and doing things than being a certain way. We do nothing's private anymore. We talk about anything, anywhere. We say anything. We do anything, and the children see it. You know, an old African proverb says, "A man is who his mother makes him." The king is not the king because he sits on the throne. The king is the king because his mother made sure that he got what he needed to be able to sit in the throne respectively. And so very often, as you know, something has happened where everything is more important to us than just being the women. We compete with each other. We attack each other. You know, it's just so many things.
We compete with our children.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
With our children. You know, Iyanla, we had this conversation about, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago when I wrote a book called You Know Better. And
Yeah,
it was
you
about
know
little
better.
Chandra.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yes.
And that book did worse than any of my books because nobody wanted to talk about LaShondra. I mean, I would break up dinner parties, and you know, I would say, "Well, I'm writing this book about this young kid," and they would literally say to me, "I deal with that little heifer all week long. I'm here for to have fun." So we just really, nobody even wanted to talk about it 20 years ago, and like you say, now here we are, 20 years later.
Iyanla, is it too late? Is there something we can do to sort of turn this around?
Yeah.
Well, we have to talk about it. You know, we have to talk about it. I said, I got blasted out the realm about a year ago when I said, ladies, you need to close your legs. You need to close your legs because we continue to have these children that we don't have the emotional, the physical, or the financial means to raise them. It's like a thing now. You just meet a guy, you live with him 6 months, and the next thing you know, you're pregnant. But it's all over the television. All of these young people are having these children. We need to close.
It's glamorized.
We need to stop surrendering ourselves to people and situations that don't honor who we are. You know, anybody can just go, whoop it up, get laid, get a piece of nookie or whatever. But we have to start because, see, one of the questions that I used to ask years ago is, why do drug dealers have girlfriends? Drug dealers who are pumping poison into our community. Why do drug dealers have girlfriends? Because the kind of woman that I am and the kind of sister that I am and the kind of mother that I am, I wouldn't have nobody put their legs under my table if they pumping poison into my community. But Tina, we don't have culture anymore. We have fads, we have styles, we have fashion. We don't have culture. There's just some stuff we just don't do. So I don't think it's too late, but I think that we have to start talking. We have to start speaking truth in a way that honors our culture as women of color, honors who we are as women. Do we really, a woman who really understands her power, who understands who she is from the inside out, you don't give up the goodies like that. Now, of course, when we was younger, we was all sneaking around doing it, but we were sneaking. We wasn't on the TV show.
Yeah, exactly.
Or on social media.
We weren't filming it.
I was sneaking. I sure was sneaking.
You're right.
Because a part of me knew it was out of order.
Yeah.
A part of me knew that. I had been taught that. Now, the way they taught it to me was a little dysfunctional, but we have glamorized and glorified our dysfunction. Even with the thing, my baby daddy. No. That's the child's father.
Yeah,
Hold him accountable.
I was listening.
Father.
You know how these videos pop up on Facebook and social media, on Instagram, and I was listening to Fantasia the other night singing "Baby Daddy," and I really had never listened to the words. I remember the melody and the sound, but for the first time, I literally listened to the words, and I'm like, is she really saying that? Is she really glamorizing this baby daddy thing with those words?
What is the responsibility of a baby daddy? You see, a father has ancient age-old responsibilities. What do a baby daddy have? And what do a baby mama have? No responsibility. That's not a part of our culture. That's not who we are as a people. And I come from the time when daddy may not have ever said a word to you, and he may have never come to the ballet when you did your recital, but he was coming home, he was putting food on the table. I'm sure he had his stuff going on, but I tell you this, when daddy opened his mouth, you moved your behind. I tell you that.
Yeah.
And daddy didn't always have to be your biological, because I
No.
didn't grow up with a biological father, but I grew up with a father.
Yeah. I grew up with
Who was my
uncles.
role model.
I grew up with older
That's
cousins.
who my father was, an uncle. Yeah.
I grew up with
lived
uncles, older cousins, so it's a lot. But I think that we just have to really start speak. And it's a challenge, I grew up looking at Dinah Washington, Lena Horne, Nancy Wilson, Diane Carroll, the Supremes, Martha and the Vandellas.
There you go.
Gonna say that. Yeah.
That's our wheelhouse too. Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I see, and I love her, hear me clearly, when I see her sometimes, the Lady B, Miss B, or Riri, and I love the fact that they're independent, powerful women working in the industry. But some of the things that I see, I don't understand. I just don't, it's just because the way Ella and Dinah and these were my idols and people that I looked at. And I know times change, things change, because I love Beyonce, I love Rihanna, but I also noticed that India Arie doesn't get the play that Beyonce does.
No.
A Lettucey doesn't get the play that Beyonce does. Her is making them notice, and Elamar, some of these youngins, because I try to keep up with them. But she didn't get the play, covered from head to toe, head wrapped, singing beautifully. She don't get the play.
Iyanla, can we shift a little bit? You have done so many wonderful things in your career, and Tina and I have been talking about that for the past couple of days, and everybody knows what those things are. But I know you're doing some things that as you're moving forward from this point on. What are the one or two things that you're working on now that you want our listeners to know about you?
I'm teaching. The Miss Corona recreated my career. Because I used to fly all over the world.
Yeah.
Right now, you want to see Iyanla, you better get Zoom. Yeah, I'm teaching because, I left Fix My Life because it's hard to do television because they're always upping the ante. And I wasn't doing entertainment, I was doing entertainment. But each season, it became such a push to do more salaciousness, and I just wasn't going to do it. And if we rated high this season, how can we make this better? And I said, well, what I really
Excuse me, just like the culture, just like what you were talking about with the young people.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
So I wanted it to be more intimate. I wanted it to be selective. I didn't want to just pop up on people's television. If you want to hear me, you got to pay and come hear me. Or I do a lot of stuff for free. But so teaching, I want to teach. I am teaching. You know what I find so interesting? Historically Black colleges all across this country, I've never been asked to come teach at one of them. Never.
Is that right?
But all the white colleges want me.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm afraid that's a not a unusual situation, anomaly. Yeah, there's a great deal of it.
Louisiana State, none of them. But I've had 2 offers to come teach at prestigious white colleges, and not only did they tell me to come teach, they said, "What do you want to teach?"
And how much money do you want?
What is that about?
I know. And that may be why you're not getting the invitations from HBCUs, because there may be an assumption that they don't have enough money for you. for whatever
Well,
it
you
is
know,
that you want.
I have to jump in there because we've been doing this a long time, especially Iyanla and myself, as far as supporting ourselves through our books and our writing and that kind of thing. And one of the things that we started our tenet of reciprocity in everything we do, Tina McElroy, Ansa, whatever, and books and all, is because what we were finding out is that the people we wanted to reach at universities, they would say, the first thing they would say is, we can't afford you.
Yeah.
And I would always say, oh, because you don't even know how you can afford me. Maybe you can. But what I found out is the people who we wanted to reach did not think they had the funds. The people that, had the funds were not necessarily our audience, our primary audience. And so when we started asking for, instead of money, let's see what we can do. What tenet of reciprocity can we do? And a lot of organizations started doing that, but you still couldn't get universities to do it. You still couldn't get the primary university.
And
I'll say it about Spelman. Wanda and I should be all over Spelman. Wanda and I should be not only teaching classes, but doing courses and, being called in for speaking. And it doesn't happen. It hasn't happened for me.
But part of it is our historical, ancestral, generational lack consciousness and scarcity thinking. Lack consciousness and scarcity thinking. We'll look at what we don't have. I mean, just historically, before we look at what we do have. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah. So anyway, I'm teaching. I'm really being active in my great-grandson's life because he's a mixed race child. And I just want to make sure that the mix is balanced.
Right.
Oh, with Iyanla Vanzant as a grandmother, I'm pretty sure that is going to happen. But but you're right. It's an action you have to take. It's a decision you have to make. It's a struggle you have to sort of be a part of to keep culture in our culture.
Yes, you have to. I think a lot of the, when I was 13 years old, when my sister who danced at the World's Fair in New York, I wasn't even 13, I must have been 9, maybe, when she danced with Michael Babatunde Olatunji at the World's Fair in New York City. That was in 62, 3, 4. And
I was there. I went to that World's Fair. I remember it.
Yeah. When they taught me how to wrap my head and taught me it's not a kerchief, it's a gele. And if you're married, you tie it on the left, and if you're single, you tie it on the right. When you wrap your lapa, not an African skirt, you wrap your lapa, and what a buba is, and what it means when it meets at the waist, and what it means. What's an agbada? A African robe, and then everybody went into the pre-print dashikis. Okay, well,
as you can see, this is a long. Beautiful dress that was made for me by a friend of a friend who has never seen me. We just talked on the phone. But I was just thinking when you were saying that, your one of your favorite sayings used to be, let's call a thing a thing.
Call a thing a thing.
And I love that so much because you can use it in so many different situations.
Yeah.
It's true.
And we've fallen off the cultural rails. How many young people know how to set a table? How many young people say prayers before they go to bed? If they ain't in trouble or think they pregnant, how many?
Other than that, yeah. Other than those, please, Lord, help me now, pray.
Right. How many? I still do stuff like lay my clothes out for the next day before I go to bed. I did a training course called the Spiritual Warriors in Training. And to get people to do that was like pulling teeth out of their head. Lay your clothes out before you go to bed. Take your trash out so that this day knows that you're complete. You don't take your trash from the day into tomorrow. Make your bed up so that the universe knows you're no longer.
Okay, now you're getting on some strange ground there with Tina, making up the bed, because that was one of the things we talked about when we were roommates in Spelman. What did you say, Tina? I made up my bed every day, and I still do. And Tina
I know,
said,
and with the cover and the matching sheets and spread. And I would say, why you making your bed up? We just gonna get back in it in a few hours.
Yeah, but you got to let the universe know that you're complete with that activity. You're moving on.
Thank you, Iyanla. Thank you for saying that.
That's the history. And I know that as a Native American, you don't ever leave your bed unmade. And leaving it unmade leaves it open for any wanton spirit passing by to get in there with you.
Oh gosh. Okay, you got me now.
Mhm.
Okay,
There
all right.
you go.
You didn't
There you
have me
go.
before.
Yeah, I'm
You
an
got
old
me
chick. I
now.
know
Oh,
some
yeah,
stuff.
Okay.
no more spirits in that bed. Okay.
I just sent
Yeah.
Tina a notice, a message saying we need to wrap it up because we kept you a long time. But now that you have put that out there, I know she's ready to wrap it up.
Yeah.
She's not
But
going to want to make
now
up
you a
that
single
bed.
woman. You a single woman, and you know your beloved is gone, and that side of the bed is empty. You don't want to fill it up with a
Ooh,
disembodied
Lord.
body.
I tell you, some nights it's not even empty. So you know, Shanae. So that's that. Yeah, we don't need no extra spirits. Well, but I do one other thing before we let you go. You know, pray for us.
All the time.
Please.
All the time. I pray for you. I pray for everybody. And I do pray for the young people. I have a whole list of them that I pray for.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, from Snoop to Jay-Z to Kevin Hart to all of the 19-year-olds who are doing deep time in the prisons.
Yeah.
You know, 19-year-olds doing 10 to 15.
Oh, that's a whole nother show. That's a whole nother
Yeah,
show.
but you know what?
We'll have to do that.
Women.
Yeah.
In prison. So I do. I will pray for you. I always pray for you. You know, I have a whole list of people I pray for.
Thank you. Thank you. I pray for you. I pray for you. Thank you so much for joining the show. You're wonderful. You're wonderful.
That y'all are sharing.
And if people want to sit at your feet and be in one of your classes that you teach, you do it through your center, or how would they
No,
know?
we closed the center. You know, Miss Corona, she was active.
Oh, God, yeah.
I'm not paying no rent while you run
Yeah.
No,
Air conditioning, rent, lights, yeah.
Listen, Iyanla.com. It's real simple. I think my flagship class, every Sunday morning I do a class called the Spiritual Study Sanctuary, and I'm walking people through classic spiritual text to help them not just read it, but to make it practical and applicable to their everyday life. So I do 2 classes a day for the East Coast, 7:30 to 9, and for the West Coast from their 7:30 to 9, which is our 10:30 to noon. And right now we're getting ready to read Pema Chodron's book, Go to the Places That Scare You. Powerful, 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 powerful book.
Go to the places that are scary. Yeah. Oh, man, that's wonderful. A children's book.
No. She's a Buddhist nun.
Oh, don't. I'm sorry. I misunderstood you. I thought you said a children's book. I was just going to say, yeah. Well, thank you again, Iyanla.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was so wonderful meeting you, and we're going to keep you in our prayers as well.
Okay, we got to meet and have tea one day. A bunch of old chicks.
Hey, how about that?
Absolutely. Yeah. And we can't do it in person. We can do it on Zoom. Everybody can have their own.
I went to a wine tasting on Zoom. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I don't even drink.
I thought we go to birthday parties on Zoom. We do all kind of things on Zoom. Now you know what, Iyanla, I don't want to go back out there. I'm so comfortable on Zoom now that I'm enjoying this.
Really?
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah, and the people and the things you can see, the people you can hear speaking, the things that you can be a part of. There's good in everything. There's good in everything.
Well, I think Miss Corona came to heal us up, to get us here, to take us in. And I think the reason that we're having all these challenges is because we didn't pay attention. We were so busy busting to get out. We didn't get the lesson. I got my lesson. I stayed my butt home. And listen, with this wonderfulness that's going on over there now, y'all better get some toilet paper.
I know, right? Yeah.
They're not gonna catch me again with no toilet paper. I didn't have no toilet paper. I had to run around begging for toilet paper because I was shooting in Atlanta when the pandemic happened. I came home, I had 2 or 3 rolls of toilet paper. I had people sending me toilet paper from all over the country.
That's a good thing because you found out you need toilet paper.
I do
You
need
need toilet paper.
Well,
Okay,
my
you go.
old chicks, sister chicks, I love you. Take good care.
Thank you. We love you too.
We
Okay.
love you. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Well, Tina,
Wow.
we often end our episodes by dropping some wisdom, but I don't think we have anything to add to that. Iyanla
No.
not only dropped some wisdom, she dropped some advice, she dropped some experience, and I think she just dropped the mic when she started talking about the toilet paper.
She dropped the mic. You are absolutely. She's talking about young folks. She absolutely did. Yeah. She's a wonderful guest, and she was so kind to find some time to come and come to talk with us. It was great. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it for this episode of Two Old Chicks. As always, we remind you to help us spread the word about the podcast. So tell your friends and family to join us, and please follow us on YouTube and Spotify.
Yes, thank you. It really matters. The numbers matter. We want to kick it up, as we've said before. We want to kick it up a notch, and we need your help. So we'll see you soon. We love you. Take care. Love and peace.
Bye-bye, everybody. Love, love.